Okay, here's the solar car we're gonna make. And first of all, we're gonna cut the pieces of straw that we need. And we need 2 pieces of straw, each 4.5 centimeters long. So you get your Sharpie and you mark the straw and then cut it. And then do it again. 4.5 centimeters. Okay, good. Now, to cap back on your Sharpie, as always, take the chassis of your car. You can do white side up, black side up, whichever you want. And we're going to glue these axles to the front and the back of the car. Now the important thing is you get them on so they're parallel with each other. If one's like this or the one's like that, the car's going to turn. And it's going to be very difficult to make it down the race course. So you want to get them on straight. So get your hot glue and near the front of the car, put a bead of hot glue down. And put your front axle in and try to make it stick out evenly on both the left and the right side of the chassis and perpendicular to the chassis. That looks good. So then I'll do the back axle. Put that straw on, press it down, get it evenly spaced and perpendicular to this one. Okay, I think that's good. So I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. Now I'm going to get my axles, and for one of them we have to make some marks on it. So we get our ruler and our Sharpie again. And the first mark on one side is 1 centimeter in. So you make it and rotate it around a little bit. At the other end, make sure there aren't old marks on it. You want to get a mark at 1.5 centimeters. All the way around. Okay? The other axle you don't have to make marks on. So now we're going to get our front wheels. They're the skinny ones. And check to make sure there aren't little plastic pieces sticking out like that one has a little piece of plastic sticking out of it. I don't know if you can see that. So we have to get our X-Acto knife and cut that off. Okay? Now it's nice and smooth. They're both pretty smooth. So that's going to go on one of the axles on the front of the car. Our glue should be dry by now. So we're going to put the axle without any marks at one end. And push one wheel through. Might have to go like this to get it to push through. And then you do the other side. And you want to push it in so there's not too much left and right, but you don't want to squeeze them right up against the straw because then they won't spin. And that's friction. So you want to separate them out a little bit so that when you spin it like that, it should run pretty freely. Okay, so that's a pretty good sign right there. Now the back axle is a little trickier. So you got the 1 centimeter mark and the 1.5 centimeter mark. Let's start with the 1 centimeter mark. We're going to try to push one wheel in until it gets to the 1 centimeter mark. have it in there to do that. So that's about right. You can see it's not coming through the other side. Good. Now on the 1.5 centimeter mark, it's not quite going to make it. We're going to push this one in. Again, so it's not squishing. And then the outside wheel in. Sometimes it ends up pushing this through. That's okay, that's still a little tight. Open that up a little. Good, so it spins freely, but it can go back and forth a little bit, so we've reduced the friction. Okay, now that's all the bottom side of the car, so now that part is moving pretty good. Okay, now it's time to put the motor on the car. Now what you want to do is make a mark on the top of the motor. When these two tabs here are parallel with the bottom of the car, not like this, where one's above the other, but they're side by side. Then you mark the top of your motor so you know how to orient it when it's time to glue it into place. Now, how far back to put it? You want to lift the back of the car up with your fingers here and push this back until the two gears run into each other. And then when you drop it down, they should move, okay? So you lift it up, slide it back until they run into each other, and that should be a pretty good position. Except I don't have the motor on top. So lift it up, move it back. That's about it right there. So now I have to kind of make a note of where that is. Put a bunch of glue down here. Lift the back of the car up. Drop the motor down into place and slide it back till those gears engage, and I can test it by putting it on the ground here and seeing when I move it that the gears move each other. So that's a pretty good position there. Now I just have to add the solar panels, but first I'm going to put this popsicle stick on the motor just in front of it so it's at a little bit of an angle. Don't want it right on top, down here a little bit. So I'm going to add some glue here. And put my hot popsicle stick just like that. Okay. And that's going to be the holder for my two solar panels, which are going to go on like this. Okay. So I'll put some glue out here to make sure I have enough hot glue in my gun for one solar panel. Just make sure the panel doesn't rub up against that tire. And I'll put some more glue on this side for the other solar panel. Right up against each other. Okay, we're almost there. Now we have to hook up the wires. So we can start with the black wire, and you go underneath here and connect it to one of the tabs. Like that. And here you take the red wire and connect it to the black wire of the other solar panel, and you can just open them both up and have them clip each other like that. And now the red wire has to come back around here and connect to the other tab without rubbing against that tire, which is the trick. Good, I think we got it so there's no friction. You might have to move that down a little bit. There we go. So you don't want that tire to rub up against the alligator clip. Now the problem is you got this junk hanging out back here. So this is one solution I have, but this part is optional. You can come up with a different solution maybe. But I'm gonna glue this straw at the bottom, and I'll put some glue up against the back of the motor too. I'm gonna glue it like this. And I'm gonna have to let that dry. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna give me something to hook these wires to so they're not dragging on the ground and causing friction. Okay, so now I can wrap this guy around like that. And wrap this guy like the other direction. So that when you clip them together, they're kind of held up in the air a little bit, like, so they're not dragging on the ground. One more thing before you're done, you should turn it over and write your name on it, because they're all going to look alike. You can write your name on the top if that's where the white part is. Okay? Okay. So now I think we are done and you're ready to go put it in the sun.